Zoro piece is real.
You're goddamn right.
Like the One Piece, Zoro piece is here. Wow, that Zoro piece was hype as all hell, ladies and gentlemen, without a doubt. It is I'll argue, it is the best closer for a One Piece fight I have literally ever seen.
Crazy.
That might even include One Piece movies as well. Now, to be fair, I think that One Piece Film Red and Film Z have tremendously strong close for their fight. I mean, Film Z, I'm like, oh, nah. I don't know. I'm gonna hold off on that one. But for a One Piece episode, yeah, 100%. When 17 minutes and 35 seconds hits its stride, bruh. Yeah, that animation was outstanding. Jaw-dropping, phenomenal Zoro greatness. And the episode, as I mentioned on Twitter, in my book, is a solid, flat 10 out of 10. For me, unironically, Bars, it is up there with some of the best stuff in the anime market for fights. Literally better than 95% of the anime market. We're talking about, in my book, Rock Lee versus Gaara, Chairman Tero versus Meruem, Baki Hanma versus Biscuit Oliva, Tanjiro and Uzui versus Gyutaro and Daki, Goku versus Piccolo in the original Dragon Ball, Ichigo versus Yuhabaha, the list goes on, the Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Budget Works, even Heaven's Feel, etc. People. When I think about how great and how intense this was, it is in my top fights in the One Piece anime, for damn sure. It really does, like, just undeniably. It gets the blood pumping. High blood pressure for what's to come in the future of this arc. And not just, let's say, in this arc, at some point in the future, Zoro versus Mihawk is coming. If Zoro versus King is this clean, imagine how good Zoro versus Mihawk is. Oh no! They have Toei Animation has an extraordinarily high bar to meet when it comes to that fight in the future, and arguably even Zoro versus City of the Rain. This right here for sure is one of those fights I'm gonna be playing on repeat for a minute. I'm doing a video on Zoro piece just like I did for Sanji piece, and you can check out that video over here in the corner after this video, because this episode 100% deserved the video just like Sanji piece did. Second, the people and myself are on Patreon. Watch us go down, and eventually will be on the Kingu-san anime YouTube reaction channel. Link in the box below for that, for all the edited One Piece reactions. And before we dive deeper and give credit where credit is due for the madness that is Zoro piece, credit where even people, most fans, are not giving credit to, which we have to, I have to give a word for today's sponsor. And today's sponsor is none other than the Surfshark VPN.
Oh!
You see, the World Wide Web absolutely is a very dangerous place. One false step, one wrong move, and you will find out that your week, your month, your year could be completely ruined. And that's why, for my fellow weebs out there across the world, I know that we explore some very interesting locations and some very interesting places on the web.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to.
But you need protection. You need safety. And Surfshark VPN absolutely has your back with dope features like the clean web feature that clears up any malware, any viruses, any bad actors that may try and ruin your day. I am a big dude.
Duh.
And part of the reason why is because of them sweet, delicious cookies. Absolutely. But I hate them. I detest them online. So Surfshark VPN is my online dietitian as well. And it's my dietitian everywhere. My desktop, my laptop, my phone, wherever I am, I can have Surfshark VPN protecting me, making sure I am secure, safe, and sound. Furthermore, if you want access, let's say any region-gated content, let's say on Netflix, let's say on Hulu, and even my own channel, since I do have region-gated content.
What did he say?
And you want to gain access to this region-gated content, then you can easily do so by changing the location that you are located in with Surfshark VPN, and with the click of a button, that region-locked content has now been unlocked. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, go in the description box down below. You use code KOL, that is KOL, to get an exclusive offer and 3 months free. Once again, use code KOL, and now let's get back into the video. Yes! Now here are some of the names that you must show appreciation to when it comes to the creation of this episode of One Piece. The episode director was Ryosuke Tanaka, who also took part in the storyboarding as well with Katsumi Ishizuka. Animation supervisors were Keita Saito, Midori Matsuda, and Katsumi Ishizuka once again. Then some of the animators and animation groups are Fasto, Ruko, Michael Sung, Jamie Mary, Koto Nishikawa, Fuyuko Iwata, Juni, Reference Sage, and so on and so forth. Much love. Jafar put the list somewhere on the screen. Much love to all of the individuals that took part in the creation of this fantastic episode of One Piece. And of course, the Jimmy Butlers of this episode of One Piece were, I would argue, without a doubt, Yen BM. And of course, Vincent Chan Sard, with apparently some help from Lunana, a classmate of his. So people, we are giving credit where credit is due across the spectrum.
Damn right.
First of all, the episode had some great notes before we got to 1735. Like, for example, when King and Zoro return outside to continue their fight, and King is spinning around like a fire wheel, flame wheel, Typhlosion UFO. That was dope, yo. That was done by a group or someone called Ruko. It reminded me a lot of episode 1046 when Zoro and Sanji had like these Beyblade moments and it became like disc while attacking Queen and King. Not the same people or person that did that scene, but very similar vibes. And I thought it was cool as all hell. And what's also funny to note was that Ruko, this person in the group, they slid in that moment, they slid in a quote green bull Easter egg. We did catch that during the stream, and I did tweet that out, that Weirwood Tree sort of Easter egg. And then I really liked the moment when Zoro was pressing King on the ground, pause, and behind King there's like this sort of crater that forms, and then cubes get blown into the air, and that was done by Michael Sung. So that was a great job, Michael Sung, because you can also kind of see the green hockey sort of like etched into the ground when that happened. So yeah, Michael Sung, I see you. What I also saw was the bird dance. Damn, that was heavy. Yo, the bird dance was my favorite moment in the manga version of the fight between Zoro and King, and in the anime it is hella dope. It's actually, unironically, my number 2 favorite moment in the episode itself. That bird dance I thought was actually unironic heat. That cat had me bouncing, bussing, jumping when I saw that in the reaction, which of course on my Patreon. on. And yes, of course, later on the Kingu-san YouTube channel, but later.
This stuff, it needs to happen.
If not for this, the bird dance, I think, would be my number one. But damn. The animation that got everybody buzzing bzz, 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 online was the work done by Vincent Chansard, which started where? At 17:35. 17 minutes and 35 seconds in was some of the most intense animation, camera work, lighting, so on and so forth. Basically, in a nutshell, it's when the two rings of death start to form around King. And then King goes nuts. He goes nuts with the AoE Imperial Fire Dragons. Yeah. Even though I love that bird dance, I was like, wait a minute. What is happening right now? This is radical. That was some wild, studly activity. It kind of gave me the vibe of like a Destiny 2 raid boss at some point. And it's the moment that everyone is fixated the most, which I think, honest to God, is fair. That's very, 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 very fair. Because that was just, man, that was insane. And the impact frames were everywhere. They were just a slew of impact frames. And folks got their shovels out and they were digging. And even in that last stretch of Zoro vs. King, they found Among Us, unironic Among Us, hidden in the auras. And Chanson himself also notes to this, that was, man, this guy. Yo, Chansar was nuts, man.
This is madness.
And we also must give credit to not just Vincent, but also Lunana, who did some work for that lovely piece as well, stated by Vincent himself. And we have to show love to the second star, because there's 2 stars here. The second star for the episode, Yen BM. Note to this. Yen BM did most of the scenes in the episode for Zoro vs. King, as far as I can tell. So Yen BM did the Ultra Tiger Hunt outside with the star power stuff going on. He or they did the actual final attack, the King of Hell Dragon Damnation. He or they were the ones responsible for that. Plus the giant, like, Titanic white sphere aftershock thing. That was Yen BM boy. When Zoro proclaims himself to be the King of Hell with the rocks floating around him, and then when folks actually freeze frame some of the lightning, the red lightning, it actually spells the name Zoro. Who is in charge of that? That was Yen BM. So if you don't know, now you know. You absolutely have to give a tremendous amount of credit to Yen BM, because Yen BM, they did a lot of work. And I see 1000% love from me and other One Piece fans across the entire world to everyone who made this episode a reality and made it what it actually is. Master class. And it wasn't even, let's just say, the quality of animation, but it was also the additional substance material that was added into the episode as well. So for example, Zoro still needed to tussle with Enma when they were outside, and that does not seem to be in the manga at all, but that was a good addition for damn sure, adding more context to Zoro still maintain control over Enma and how it wasn't easy. And then in the Albert, aka King the Wildfire flashback, he says something that we don't see in the manga. King the Wildfire says, "Let us out. What have we done to you?" Huh?
What do you mean by that?
Adding more information, giving us more context here, where King was in prison at Punk Hazard with potentially other Lunarians. Like, scratch my chinny chin chin. And then also, they did confirm in the anime that Kaido did have Conqueror's Haki back then, and he does use it to knock out some fodder cats. More context here, and this was something that many folks were confused about in the manga. We see Zoro charging his haki to stop King from snatching his famed blades with King's own trick sword, which was a nice detail. Again, in the manga, at that point in time, last year, that was a very confusing moment that spurred a lot of debate. And in the anime, they do give us more context here. All in all, adding additional substance I thought was great.
But wait!
However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows because nothing is really truly perfect, right? Ultimately, that 10 out of 10 is if the positives vastly outweigh the negatives, and there are some negatives. And one thing in particular was pushed out there by Manu, aka Ohara, as folks know him on YouTube, of course, and online, where he had a tweet talking about how he praises the One Piece anime for doing a great job with good animation. He also stated that what he's watching does not feel like it actually involves the manga anymore, with a picture of Zoro cutting one of the Imperial Fire dragons. He seems to be referring to the moments when Zoro was cutting through the Imperial Fire dragons from the inside out, contrary to the vibe that you got in the manga, for damn sure. Moving away from the source material can cut both ways. So in the manga, King is not making these tremendously large AoE Imperial Fire dragon swarms, and Zoro's not going inside of the Imperial Fire and cutting it. No. And there's even other minor details that kind of add more to the power dynamic of, let's say, Zoro, for example. When King goes into speed mode and he attacks Zoro, well, Zoro blocks that kick in the anime, but in the manga, Zoro eats that kick to the face and then follows up with the bird dance. So this straight from the manga. Let's say in the sense of Zoro's power scheme, it is more in the positive direction. But let's say we jump all the way back, way before Wano Country. We go all the way back to Marineford, Whitebeard versus Akainu. In the manga, what happens? Half his face is blown off by Akainu's Meigo, his hellhound. In the anime, they censor that and they just give Whitebeard another hole in his chest. So that would be an example of the anime straying away in a negative direction from the source material. And overall, for Wano Country, because the animation and the intensity is so over the top, the feeling might be that if the anime strays too far from the source material with things like the fights and the effects, so on and so forth, then it's no longer One Piece and it feels like a completely different story. There is such a thing as going overboard, and naturally there will be folks that'll be turned off when you go overboard. And in a way, I'm not gonna lie to you, in a way, I kind of felt something similar, not at the end of the fight, NANI? When Zoro does the King of Hell 3-sword style Purgatory Onigiri done by Isuda Maester. That Onigiri flummoxed me, like no cap. People who saw my reaction on Patreon can attest to this. Yes, they can. In the manga, it's pretty cut and dry. We have 3 simultaneous cuts that cross each other, and then the rock is destroyed, and then King of Wildfire dodges that attack. But in the anime, it is the most unusual version of that attack I have seen so far in this arc, by far. He does the attack, and then the attack is like underneath him in some way, and it's oddly delayed. It doesn't happen in the same as the manga, like all at once. And then that odd delay then kind of follows up on King the Wildfire when Zoro's in the air. I was like, wait, what the hell just happened? I was like, wait, what? Don't get me wrong, it was cool. But I'd be lying if I didn't say it. Like, yo, that was different. In hindsight, I do feel like that moment would have been better for sure if it actually stuck with the source material. However, when it comes to the shifts away overall from the source material, and the insane animation. I think folks know my stance on that through and through. So I don't think that I need to, let's say, go through a complete rehash of it here. In general, I support the over-the-top animation of Wano, even if it does at times move away from the source material. And you can check out my video, I'll put it in the corner as well, where I did a video on DB's animation style and how that has affected Wano Country One Piece. I would say it is pretty informative. Another thing that I thought could have been better, like for sure, 100% for sure, was the lackluster use of an older Zoro versus Mihawk animation special for some emotional character tie-in, like some sprinkles that just tasted stale. No. I definitely wanted more emotional character substance for Zoro in this episode. And honestly, Zoro vs. Mihawk rehash, that did fall flat. It is what it is there. There are minor uses here, let's say flashback stuff after the eye catchers. And I was surprised to see a Sanji piece quick recap at the beginning of Zoro piece, considering how Sanji piece started off with no recap at all. And I thought it'd be the same thing here for Zoro piece. But on the real, I ain't gonna complain that much. In fact, not really at all. So look, listen. All in all, I love this episode of One Piece. It is a 10 out of 10 in my book, the same rating I gave episode 1061. Why? It's very simple, because I think that for this episode, the pros vastly outweigh the cons for Zoro piece. It was a lot of fun watching Zoro go in hard as all hell. And again, it does get my mind racing, jogging for the potential, definitely crazier things to come. So I will be doing another video next week on Zoro and Sanji piece. Yes. So be on the lookout. And let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. If you enjoyed this video or your boy's content at large, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Of course, subscribe to this channel and click on the bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you cats on the flip side. Wait, hold on. One last thing too.
Tell me.
That to be continued at the end of the episode. Priceless.